Greetings, friends. Now, in these days of confinement and uncertainty, you might be at a loss what to do, being stuck in your house in this sort of house arrest situation that we're all facing. You might equally be worried about your health or your immune system. Now, the point of this video is really to encourage everyone to go out into your gardens if you have access to one. Open spaces, as long as you maintain your social distance. Open spaces are very safe. There's also access to fresh air, and really we can show you wild plants that are growing, and you would also many of which have nutritional and medicinal properties, and many of which particularly have immune boosting properties that we should all make use of in this time. They are wild. None of them have been planted here. They are just what nature intended in this soil, in this climate, in this country, and they are therefore what is ideal for us in terms of sort of nutrition and our well-being, if you look at it from a holistic point of view. Now, the first plant we're going to show you is dandelion. Now, you would of course have seen a dandelion, may not have seen it but not know its name. Now, the way you identify a dandelion is by its jagged edges of its leaf. It's almost like chunks have been cut out on each of the leaf edges. If I show you another leaf quickly, again you will notice similar properties. Got jagged. Actually comes from the French. The dandelion comes from the French dent de lion, which means lion's teeth, and you can see by that where that comes from. The flowers are yellow, and it will be flowering around about this time, and that will then turn into sort of these clocks, what we call clock, which is where you'll see like a fluffy ball of seeds, which if you blow they will scatter into the wind. Now, the reason why dandelion is an amazingly useful plant is that it is full of calcium, magnesium, vitamin A, vitamin B1, B2, vitamin C, iron. It's got a whole host of nutritional properties that we can all make most of. Incidentally, I looked online for dandelion leaf powder, and that is around about 10 pounds for 200 grams. So that in itself should tell you how useful this plant is if you learn how to identify it and use it. Now, the only thing you need to be careful of, if you've got sort of gallstones or heartburn or ulcer sort of condition, it is something to be avoided because it stimulates gastric juices. How do you use these plants generally? Now, wash them, use salt to wash them thoroughly, and then you can use them in salads, small leaves, or you can use them as a herbal tea. And by that I mean boil some water and put the leaves in the water to steep, and then drink it like a green tea or a herbal tea. Now, avoid the temptation of boiling the leaf with the water, because a lot of the nutrition will be lost in that process. Now, the second plant that will also grows commonly in gardens without any sort of, it grows very, very easily without sort of human interference, is the dead white nettle. If you look at these petals, they've got a very symmetrical arrangement: 2 small leaves, 2 big leaves, then another 2 set of bigger leaves, and it goes on like that. It's almost like a cross shaped, a crucifix. Now, same plant, if you look at the flowers, white flowers, hence dead white nettles. And dead white nettles are very useful because they have vitamin A and they have iron, and vitamin A is useful for building your immune system. It also has antioxidants, which means it's useful for fighting cancers. So again, this plant is extremely useful that we can be using in salads or in teas. Now, one more plant I'm going to show you very quickly, which is not in the same family but looks very, very similar. This is the stinging nettle. I'm going to be careful because it stings if you touch it. Again, if you look at it, 2 small leaves, 2 big leaves, and it's again very, very useful, packed full of nutrition. Vitamin A, vitamin B1, B2, B5, vitamin C, folic acid, zinc, iron, and even vitamin D, which is very rare in plant sources. Normally we obtain it by sunlight. Now, if you can't see it clearly from this, look online, stinging nettle, to help you identify it. It will almost invariably will growing around your local area in your garden. Learn to use it in soups, though be wary, if you overcook it you're going to lose the nutrition, or you can use it always in teas, as we do often. Now, one more plant here. This, friends, is white horehound. The leaves, when it flowers, the flowers will be these sort of clusters of white flowers. Again, if you notice the leaf, 2 small leaves, 2 big leaves. Rather a symmetrical arrangement. It's more rounded leaves larger leaves with rounded edges. And again, white horehound, spelling Horehound. It is amazing for lung infection, respiratory tract illnesses. It is amazing for getting rid of mucus, for coughs, because it's full of antiviral, antibacterial properties. Again, this is a medicinal plant. It's very, very bitter, though some of the others are also bitter. That means you don't want to be using it as salads. Use it in a tea. Again, contraindication, just be wary. If you're pregnant, avoid this herb. It is very, very powerful herb, useful, but certain conditions might see it overpowering. So that is white horehound. All of these plants I'm showing you, don't think of it as something sort of taste you will grow to like. They are bitter plants, but it is the bitterness that is purifying your blood. So use them here and there like medicines, but do try to incorporate them if you can into your meals. Now this plant you will have seen widely. It is called cleavers or goosegrass or sticky willy. It's got a number of names in English. It is called sticky willy or velcro plant also. It's because it sticks. If you walk past it, it will stick onto your clothes. You can even feel its stickiness as I'm holding it. If you look at the leaves, it's like a star-shaped arrangement around a stem, and the stems sort of go down in similar ways. There's some squirrels enjoying the nature just as we are. Again, cleavers, amazing for vitamin C. It is a lymphatic cleanser, which means it clears the lymphatic system, getting rid of toxins from our body. You can use it in salads, or you can use it as a tea. Soak it in water and drink the water like a herbal tea. It can do you wonders. Now, let's see, one last plant that's growing. Now, again, this is growing wide like the other ones I'm showing you. Has not been really planted. Now this is yarrow. You'll notice it because it's almost like a brush-like appearance. The leaves are sort of brushy sort of texture. It's quite unique. And now this is full of antibacterial, antiviral properties. Traditionally, all of these herbs would have been used here in this country. This particular herb goes back to Greek, Roman times, where it was used during war periods, where it was used to cleanse infections, wounds that soldiers had. So again, for immune boosting functions, this is something that is a wonderful plant. Again, just be wary, these are strong, powerful herbs, so avoid it if you're pregnant. That's a basic sort of guidance. That aside, all of these plants, friends, if you don't feel comfortable using it, that's fine. But what we're trying to show is that you can all learn to appreciate and get to know the landscape around you. This is what we've grown up with, or this is where we've settled into. And these plants are nature's gift, and they're more often than not full of wonderful properties. Start noticing what time they're flowering, what is growing where, what sort of conditions, and there is a certain joy in that, especially when you're cooped up in the house. This can give you a great sense of joy and contentment. And if you don't know what they are for sure, don't use them. If you want to learn more, and if you want to identify what you can use medicinally or for food, contact us, or you can search online. But the idea is that get to know the local plants. You don't even need to plant anything, though that is a good thing. This is something that we can all learn to appreciate and grow into. Now you might be asking, now we can order all these plants, some of these plants online. You might be familiar with plants in your own, indigenous countries. But the problem is that by shipping foods of any sort long distances, they are losing a huge amount of their nutritional properties. Additionally, we don't know what they're being sprayed with. Secondly, in these times of sort of insecurity, we do not know what the sort of supply chain will be like in future. What about if those people want those medicines, which rightfully so they are entitled to. So this is about food security, and this is about bringing your health back into your own hands, about using what is around you, because that is ultimately the future. It is also about getting in touch with the earth and with the rhythms of the seasons, and in doing so we can all benefit tremendously.